into East Alabama Medical Center. Unfortunately, we do have some fatalities associated with this storm. At this point, we don't have an exact number. That'll come later, but again, our priority right now is to ensure that we're getting to everyone that may be trapped. We're searching the area extensively. Hopefully, we can get to everyone that needs help, and that's where we're at right now.
So this is Lee Road 38 and Marvin Parkway. What area of Beauregard is this in Lee County? Just to kind of let people know where we're at exactly.
We're about 7 miles out of Opelika on Alabama 51, Highway 51 South. We're north of Highway 80. We're in the general area of what they call the Watula community here in South Lee County, below the city of Opelika and north of U.S. Highway 80.
Everybody's asking what they want to help. They just want to help. What can we do to help?
Well, at this point in time, we have so many resources here and assets in place that we're just trying to keep everything organized and get them out there. Right now, I think we're doing everything we can. What we're concerned about, is everyone would imagine, is darkness will be here pretty soon. We're trying to do as much as we can before it gets dark, but we've got a lot of people that have come down and are assisting us. I've seen a lot of chainsaws. I've seen a lot of rescue equipment. We're doing everything we can before it gets dark, and then we'll just go from there.
What is the EMA telling you about this tornado? Do we know about the size or the strength, how long it was? Any information on the tornado?
Haven't really spoken at length with EMA. I do know, based on what I saw from the radar signatures broadcast on some of the local stations, that it was a major storm that came through and a very significant tornado.
What are we looking at in terms of square footage, or how large is the area that was damaged? Any idea at that point in time, or how many homes are we talking about?
We're talking multiple homes. I really have no idea exactly how many, but I know there are a lot of people that are without a home right now based on this storm today. And again, we're searching areas. We've accounted for a lot of people, but we haven't accounted for others, and that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to make sure that anyone in this area that we can locate them and make sure they're okay.
Anything else you can think of that I haven't asked Sheriff Jones that you want the people to know?
Just that some significant damage, a lot of injuries, and prayers, I'm sure, are appreciated. And again, we've got a lot of first responders in the area, and they're working feverishly to get things under control, and again, search and we're going to have people on the scene, I'm sure, continuously for the very near future.
Oh, the next couple of weeks, possibly days into weeks.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you find out what you need, I've got about 7,000 people watching right now that I'm sure they want to help you out and the families out. Whatever you need, you just let me know, and we'll share that information with the community, because right now we are praying for you, Sheriff Jones, and all the first responders that are here, and all the families. And if you just need anything, we're here for you. And it's horrible.
Those prayers are really appreciated, and certainly we're going to have the Red Cross involved, assisting people. As things become available, we'll get information to you as soon as we can.
Thank you so much, Sheriff Jones. Anything else? Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Our prayers are with you.
That was Elizabeth White, obviously reporting with Sheriff Jay Jones in Lee County, describing the devastation. 2 fatalities confirmed, and obviously, when this was on the ground, it was significant. It was the worst we've seen today, as far as our radar, and likely a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles wide. We just don't have the full parameters of this, but I could tell you, over the years of doing this, this is one of the worst we've had in probably within a decade for this, definitely this area. 2015 April, we had close to an EF3, a strong EF2 in Ladonia and Crawford, and those folks remember that, and everybody came out unscathed. This wasn't the case today because it hit a very populated area. Around Beauregard right now, the cleanup effort continues, a search and rescue again, what Sheriff Jay Jones was saying, and this is what makes it very troubling. And knowing that the night is near, we're talking about at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, so sunset is fast approaching, and this doesn't make it any any easier for anybody, and it wouldn't make it easier either if people go out there to try to do things for themselves. Filled with emotion, Elizabeth White, obviously being out there in the middle of all this is very troubling. It's very hard to have to see this, and we report on this all the time, but when it really affects you and you see lives that are torn up, some positive stories came out. A dog was rescued, and families have been rejoined today. We've seen that. Businesses have been totally leveled, and you know, again, this is not unusual, this kind of setup. But it hits home. It's our home. That's what makes it tough. Sumter County is seeing a severe thunderstorm warning, and we did have lost part of the southern Randolph County and going into areas here that meteorologist Cody Nichols looking at Clay. It's that northeast part of Clay County. Fort Gaines, you're good, but we're still continuing to track the south of Cuthbert. Cuthbert, you're okay. That'll be it for tonight. So that's the good news, but there's still some winds behind at Dawson. And these areas here that continue to move eastward could certainly affect certain areas. The Sumter County severe thunderstorm warning is east now of Americus based on the latest radar scan. So that's some great news. But our friends in extreme eastern Sumter County could still be impacted. It's because of severe thunderstorm warnings. They can still produce little weak tornadoes. But the way this has been going and behaving, this is more of outflowing winds, and certainly could be some minor to moderate damage with this by way of what we've been seeing along the line. It's very, very vigorous, very strong, and it continues to move through Interstate 75 and out of the news reviewing area. Plains, you're okay. You're clear right now in Plains, and everybody from Ellaville, Sly County, when you had that warning, is gone. Marion County, you're good, and Buena Vista up here. Richland, we're looking good right now. We get down around Quitman County as well. We're looking okay, but it's that southern portion of Randolph as it continues to ride along that line and eventually coming into Shellman, and that would leave the news reviewing area. As Cody has right here, all clear now anywhere northwest of this line you see here. From Macon, Georgia, Butler, Georgia, we get past on Geneva and Highway 80, southeast of Columbus, all of Chatco. I'll even go far south as Webster County. We'll get into Sly County. We just told you about Taylor, Talbot, back down across areas around Chattahoochee, Barber, in areas around, of course, our Alabama counties. Pike County, that's Troy. North of Troy, we get into areas around Bullock, Macon counties, Tuskegee, all included. Lee County, where most of this devastation has been, is all clear. Up in Chambers, Troup, Meriwether counties are all clear right now. Harris County, Muskogee County, Russell County, all clear. That's some good news. Lee County will not have school at all tomorrow, for sure. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of businesses that are closed as well that were impacted. A lot of lives disrupted, a lot of injuries, and a lot of assessment. And this is going to go on for days. This is not over in one day. So anything that anybody can do now for first responders, and I'll just keep saying this, is do not go out and try to inspect. Don't try to analyze. Leave it to us as we get paid for. Leave it to the professionals that are out there. We still are seeing some broad rotation, very broad, but I'll tell you something, the way this has been, this could be some strong winds north of Edison. This certainly, as it continues to leave areas of Fort Rucker, Alabama radar and moving away, again, and moving probably more towards central. We are out in Macon. We don't have anything at Warner Robins. I guess that radar site is down. Or no, it isn't. Or I'm seeing the scan coming there. That must be Warner Robins. Was that Warner Robins? Are we good?
Warner Robins is down.
Oh, okay.
This is Fort Rucker.
That's Fort Rucker. Okay, just want to make sure. When you see that radar beam scan, I'm trying to think which way it's coming. So it continues to lift north and east out of there. And that would maybe put it in the Sasser area, but still south of that. So southern Randolph County, we continue, and we're going to watch that as it moves eastward to Georgia 41. Carnegie is south of that. Moy, we talked about this earlier. Moy, it's right over on top of you right now. It's 8 minutes after the hour local time. Drifting back now on the screen, you can see how you can get your information. Of course, you've been doing that on your mobile device. And of course, any kind of mobile device you have, you could go ahead and get the latest push alerts, notifications, live streaming, or just WRBL.com. Our apps, Radar app, WRBL, and our news apps all include that. PMB broadcast partners and other radio stations, and many other ways of getting all this information. The worst hit has been Beauregard. You saw yours around Smith Station with Chuck Williams. This is like right before or right after the 2 o'clock hour Central Time, and certainly the long day it's been, and certainly it's been something else. So as I'm doing now, I'm reviewing, as it is with Chuck Williams talking about that time when it came through, and Sheriff Jay Jones. We were saying, Cody, double checking this, before or right after the 2 Central Time?
Right after. It's between that 3 o'clock time frame and that 3:15 time frame is when it really struck the boot heel of Lee County, and that's when it really started.
That's when it, yeah, and that's where it picked up.
That was with the first one.
Yeah, and if we can rewind radar, we could do just that. Cody could go in there. You can go into Max 2 and do that, I would think.
I can do it right here.
Yeah, you can do it right there, so which is good. So if you watch what Cody's doing right now, well, I'll let him focus on that. Meteorologist Jeff Kelly is here. He's been working social like all day and on air this morning as we're talking about these discrete cells. So we can give a play-by-play of this. You're looking at just to the east of 65. Those cells you see there, those are what we call discrete cells popping up. And it seemed like, okay, those aren't really doing what they're supposed to do, but then bam, here it comes. Let's watch outside of areas around Bullitt County going into the Boot Hill as we talk about it in southern Lee County, and just to the north of Russell County. Right there is the TVS. This is a tornado vortex signature, and you can see the hail core to the north of that and the appendage to the south where all that lightning is wrapped right around that tornado, and that's what was going on. Yeah, so if we can go back, we'll get in front of the radar and point to it. I think they want to get a little more specific here. So we'll go back again. We'll take you to Tuskegee, Little Texas, off of Highway 80, coming out of the Tuskegee Natural Forest. And you can see 34 minutes. This is 2 o'clock, and I'm going in Eastern time right now. Eastern time. So let's go right through it now. So let's take it eastward. We'll stop it right where it started, right there. Stop, go back, and we can stop it. And I don't know if anyone's going to pull me up full or not. If somebody's going to, so we can point to this. Could we go full? Maybe we're having some technical difficulties. There we go. There's the, right there. There's a tornado. Okay, that's where it was a tornado at its strongest point. Okay, that's at its strongest point right there. And thank you, Cody. We're just showing this was the confirmed tornado. It's on the ground. It's the same tornado, okay, as it continues. We did have a tornado report that's separate as we're looking at that earlier once we got up. And this is the Smith Station one here that ended up, and I'm surprised at Georgia now, we still don't have that into the 185. This is Smith, and I'm telling you, 185 is blocked. Whitesville Road, that's been that Smith exit was having issues there. That was a tornado. Now the tornado shows it up now. In Waverly, just south of Waverly Hall, this is Ellerslie Place. That's where Justin Holbrook is on the extreme. He'll be live with us tonight on News 3, but if not sooner. But we are looking at damage up there. That was the very end of that tornado, that cycle. The life of this thing was quite long indeed. We can do a mile track on it. We'll take it all the way out, and you can just get some kind of idea. And even Talbotton, around Highway 41 in Talbot County, I know you guys are like, what about us? You were the end of this, and coming past the water tower off of 315 in Harris County, then goes into Talbot County. That intersection 41 was completely trees down, blocked all the way, and that was hampering efforts for emergency vehicles. So the total track of this particular one that ran through Smith's, that went through Buckwild Saloon and right through the Sunoco Station, through the West Elementary School, all the way through Smith exit, and I'm paraphrasing here just to give you an idea, Waverly Hall, South Waverly Hall, but really Ellerslie Place, all the way through Talbot County, had that same tornado that did all that destruction and certainly made a mess. Now, north of this, if you could click on historical data, just click on that real quick on north of that. I'm going to give you a Beauregard / Smith quick play here. And
that's
show
a cell tower.
It's a cell tower right there. That would have been the cell tower one right there. So that's the Lee Beauregard blocked by down cell tower across Highway 80. And that obviously was either that, it was damaged winds or tornado. And you could see that track was north. Like this one still continues on the same one. That was the same one. Now, did it widen out here? Could be. Could have been the same one.
Or it could be in the wrong placement.
Wrong placement. And that's what we're looking at. And we always watch this as post-analysis, and it's good we're doing it now. I'm thinking it's bad placement because they're watching where that damage was. But we know that when it came outside of Little Texas, it came out of the Tuskegee National Forest in the Boot Hill here of areas of Lee County, outside of Little Texas, and going outside of Marvin. It continued, and again, Crawford this morning had. That was the beginning of it. We're on this morning, we had pea-sized hail there. It had nothing to do with this. That was well ahead of it as we track back. As Cody's showing us, you know, as Jeff Kelly and I were talking about that, we had video sent in by one of our News 3 staff and said, oh boy, this isn't good. Because when we started seeing that kind of energy happening, then it just continued after that. But that was the beginning, the makings of it. And then here comes the squall line effect, we'll call it, the squall line effect. And the obviously was devastating. And as you could see, the length of that and how long that was, that trek. And I think, what did you have on there again? Sorry.
It was just shy of 70.
70, yeah. That's exactly why it was an enhanced risk today. And the reason why we see that enhanced, you see long-tracked and very damaging tornadoes with this kind of thing. And you want to be wrong. You want to be wrong. And today, that was a day that the information just went well with it. And you learn a lot from this as you go along in every one of these. The saddest part of this whole story are the lives that are lost, those who lost a lot. And again, just the fact that the lives are going to be turned upside down because of this event. I got meteorologists Jeff Kelly and Cody right there. I mean, guys, we could be here as long as you are, and everyone, none of them are good to report on. But we've had ones that were just devastating. The one of March of '07, locally in Lee County, the ones that happened there, nobody was killed. We had people thrown up in a car at the intersection of double churches in '07. They were fine. Americus was not. Americus reminds me of Beauregard of '07. Americus was completely, and the people, our friends in Americus, they're still trying to get over that. And that was in '07. That was in '07. So it's the same transition between, seasons. Here we are. You get to the end of Feb, you get early March, and again, if it couldn't be textbook, and it's not making light of it at all, but this is what happens when you have this, and this is why you see us on air. See us cutting in, even the smallest things. If you could save a life, that's what we're here for first and foremost. And don't hold it against anybody who calls and cusses at us on the air. But this is why we do this. This is why we do this. I don't know what else to say. And Jeff and
yeah, Bob, when we came out and said this morning, we talked about scattered tornadoes. We meant it today. Scattered tornadoes. We sure saw that today when the National Weather Service came out, and I'll tell you what, the accuracy of this was pretty impressive too. The timing.
Jeff, come on in.
I don't know that we were off much at all on the timing.
Yeah, the timing was spot. The crazy thing is the technology as we get it. Jeff, you can come on in here. You want just take a breather off of that live stream. Here we are this morning. You were on this morning, and you were looking at what's called a HRR. And meteorologist Cody Nickel puts these graphics together for us. You saw the timing on it. Was it right on or was it right on?
It was right on. Yeah. We're talking about maybe 15 minutes. So it just shows you how far we've come here in 2019 with the accuracy of these things. We were talking about this days ago. Yeah. And then it got ramped up to the point where we went to enhanced today. And then it started to roll right around 1 o'clock Eastern time, and that's what we've been keeping an eye on it. And right now, I think what people want to know at home too, Bob, I'll get out of the way here again.
That's fine.
The clearing. They want to know right now, because they've been through a lot. In some areas, got more than one tornado come through. Are we clear? For our viewing area, for people that can see us.
We even have a tornado down at the air park right there. If you could stop it right there, Cody, and we'll show the clearing right north of Eufaula.
Another one.
That was the air park there. So that's a story too for News 3. We'll get down there. I know our Barber County folks that just missed Eufaula, but that tornado down there hit the air park, and just that, I don't know how the planes are impacted. I'm sure got a lot of Cessnas on our small planes, whatever happened, but we're still assessing that one.
It's going to take us days. We'll be busy tonight on our newscast and tomorrow and for the next couple of days assessing the damage. We've got a lot of reporters out there now taking a look at things, but there's probably some areas, I'm almost sure of it, that we don't even know about yet that we can't get to. Yeah. But to see those cell towers down,
think about that often.
Two of them down.
And
this is our communication source too, when you're thinking about people needing to communicate, and we don't know how far those traveled either.
Yeah,
that's they didn't maybe they didn't just go like that. They might have spun and moved quite a distance for a while.
The scary part is, could you imagine anybody driving and nobody was in that? We lost people that we believe were in homes in their dwellings, and that was a tough part where we had 2 fatalities and of course multiple injuries and
we didn't see a lot north of here. Didn't see a lot of activity in Atlanta, but a lot of people were trying to come back from the weekend from Atlanta, and the roads are pretty much going to be stopped, so there's a big traffic mess out there.
You made a good point. Brad Baker, who we talked to earlier, he was texting me and he says, Bob, I can't even get south. The Interstate 185 before it got into Catala too, that was likely still a tornado when it moved right through Ellerslie, Georgia, right into Talbotton itself, just outside. roads were impassable. And you're right, traffic was backed up. 280 coming out of, like, say, folks coming in from Birmingham take that route too. You're fine, and that's what they're experiencing.
And by the way, Bob, for everybody on our staff, you and Cody, I mean, you guys were right on it. It was great. We're not done yet. We're not done. We're going to keep an eye on this. This is not over yet completely. As you can see, we've got a widespread area of more precipitation still to come. But then the cold air. Then we're going to go back to winter here pretty soon.
Oh, please don't remind me. I know that's the bad effect of this. So just a recap, as Jeff just said, heavy rain still continues to pound portions of southeast areas of Randolph County. We're seeing very heavy torrential rain coming outside of Sumter County, eastern Sumter, and then that'll be it. Look at the temperature here. Albany, Georgia was at 74, now down to 72. We have 65 in Columbus, Georgia, 59 degrees right now in Montgomery, where it's all clear. Huntsville in the 40s, low 40s. It's going to be in the 30s right after sunset. So this is that cold air. This is why this is such a volatile system. The collision of air masses is pretty simple, straightforward text when it comes to spring.
There's a 40-degree differential there between Waycross and Huntsville.
That's crazy. Look at it. Almost 80 degrees in Waycross.
Yeah.
It was 80, actually, last couple hours ago. So you're right, 30-degree difference. That's why they're under the gun now. So any friends or relatives or anybody down in those areas, they will be heavily impacted. This doesn't show our warning display on it, but they are under some warnings and tornado warnings there. This is pretty much over for the news 3 viewing area, but it's not over when it comes to the cleanup from Beauregard to Smiths to Ellerslie to Smith Road exit to Catala to Fortson to Little Texas to the areas in southwest Lee County, Smiths, Alabama. There is a track there. Tornado north of Eufaula at the air park. Devastated the airport park there. And Cody, you can tell I'm tired. Cody, you were saying the air park. Tell us what you're seeing on that. What were some of the reports on that? Because you said that was pretty much hit quite hard.
Well, some of the reports was that it hit the airport. This originally come from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. Originally, when this circulation really got its act together across parts of central Barber County, it moved just to the north of Eufaula. That's when they noticed their ASOS station. That's how we get temperature reporting, dew point, wind, all that rainfall amounts. That is what we get from that ASOS station, and they said it completely took it out. So that's how they or determined, and emergency managers also said that they confirmed that there was a tornado that went over the airport there, which we have that ASOS station at in Barber County.
You got it, and just terrible. I mean, obviously no one flying at this point, but that kind of information, data, almost just gave us the, like, what happened to the data. Well, the tornado hit it. That's actually what happened in that particular case. So the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings are now good news out of our area, not good news for our friends in Albany. They're going to have to watch down here. We do on CBS, our Albany residents, you may be watching us now, and thank you for that, but we want you to pay attention, and you need to be getting in your safe spot right now. CBS in Albany right now, keeping us certainly keeping you ahead of that. The severe thunderstorm warnings are leaving Richland. They're out of that. Americus, it's really out of your area. You're going to have some moderate rainfall coming into south of Plains and Americus. So the rain continues, but the worst is over for the immediate News 3 viewing area. Where it's not so immediate is the areas that are down near Albany, Georgia right now, and that tornado warning continues down that area north of Morgan and headed towards areas around Albany, and that's very populated in that area. So if you're in Albany, you should be seeking shelter immediately. In 8 minutes, we're going to continue our coverage. We're regrouping. We're going to go to live coverage across all the areas that were devastated. That is coming up. Just want to give you a heads up in 8 minutes. Okay, so let's see. You hear what we're saying here. Now, Cody, we could kind of go through each little part. So let's just go back in time a little bit and show you what happened today, because folks are going to be trying to wonder, well, hey, what did we have come through our area? We had some damage. I had some reports with Candace Hansford and Ellerslie. We had other people telling us that their fences were down or things collapsed. It certainly played a big impact. So this was the whole genesis of the storm, okay? It started this morning, earlier this afternoon, and then right early afternoon with just what we called the cellular activity that nothing ever hit the ground. They were tornado warnings. But then But then, ahead of the actual squall line, that energy came in, then the cells became tightly wrapped, and we look at that and they started to rotate. And we used the technology of many different devices that were fully in use today, from our correlation coefficient with the latest technology of level 2. I don't know if there was any sails that were lifted on that, Cody, at all on the weather service, but velocity was our best friend. Radar sites were up and running, and through Tuskegee you could see it again. We probably can go back and just show that line again. Let's just go back. And they may be placing that, I mean, we're not zoomed in all the way, but that placement's still high up at 280 where the cell tower is. And we could go back and show you where the worst devastation was. So from Tuskegee, Macon County, it started, and it was actually just a little bit before that, coming out of the Tuskegee National Forest. Then Little Texas, there it is right here. You can see the appendage. This is just, we're just showing you plain old radar right here. You could see that. And that's what we call a tornado vortex signature. It continued, just one coming in outside the Beauregard area. There it is. There's Beauregard. There it is right there. The placement doesn't mean exact now. I just want to point it out. In fact, I would place this a little bit higher, but you get the picture. We know that area was impacted, and we still don't know the width and the path. That won't be determined until we say KBMX will get the National Weather Service office. They do it officially. We report on it. We could see tornadoes, but they'll go out because they'll bring the official, because they'll watch the nature of direction of debris and how it's either counterclockwise, facing one direction here, a tree facing this way, as Chuck Williams was describing, and then that tells us about counterclockwise rotation. So Beauregard was then hit hard at 310, 210 Central, as we're saying. So this was after 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. Then it continued north of Crawford, which was hit with a pea-sized hail this morning, but then the next round missed you guys. A lot of shaken nerves here for Ladonia that has been through this before, but in the morning hours one time where a woman was clutching her child back in 2015, and all the walls, she was in the center, was the only thing holding to a bathroom, and she survived. This is probably all in one. As we get into Smiths, Alabama, you saw the cell tower, we saw we saw the Sunoco station, we saw the devastation to the elementary school too. We'll see more of that coming up. We're kind of in the hot spots today right now. We're in the hot areas where all this stuff was taking place. We're now at 31 minutes after the hour, from 10 to 31. Look how fast it traveled, that tornado on the ground. And then it started coming into, we thought Muskogee County just clipped it, but we didn't have a lot of damage here, but it could have lifted back up in the sky. That happens. It elevated, maybe it was a funnel cloud, but it looks like it just missed the Muskogee County line and likely came right back up in 185. Click on that one there. I think that's going to say Smith Road exit. I bet you that's the Smith Road exit. Here this is Bibb City. We don't let people new here. It used to be called Bibb City North, but it's North Columbus. It's really go north. The placement's not, but it says down in northern Muskogee County, trees and path of TDS. So that was additional damage. Not to mention, when it crossed Interstate 185 into Fortson, we began to see a lot of trees that were down. Then we take you even farther out. March 1st of 07, my wife was pregnant with her last child. She was hunkered in the bathroom this day. Those tornadoes were so bad in North, I mean, it just blew all North Columbus. We had all the damage. You all remember what happened. And everybody, there was just minor injuries. Unbelievable. But today, it continued farther. It had a lot more energy to take it all the way into Harris County. Traditionally, we always see these kind of weekends sometimes, but not in this area here. So it continued to do this. Once you see it, it trees down around Marglow Road and Ellerslie and Air Park Road. We got Justin Holbrook. He's out in this area. When it continued through Harris County, Waverly Hall, and again around 3:51. Again, started at 10 after the hour, and I'm not going to, that would be Central Time, Eastern Time. It continued right at 51 after. It was already in Ellerslie, and this would be considered Ellerslie Place for the folks here off of 315. There's a big Harris County water tower there. I'm not talking about 315 near Catala. This is the water tower all the way by, I got Sam out there, my friend Sam, who lives right across the street from that. That makes you nervous when you start thinking about a water tower. And again, Sam and his lovely wife up there, he will probably talk to him later. I'm sure he's okay. I just pray that he's okay. But that continued to go right through there too as well. So that continued into Talbot County then. Now Talbot County, outside of Waverly Hall, I don't know if they tagged it here yet, Cody, with storm damage.
I don't think they have, but I'm seeing reports of catastrophic damage in Talbotton.
And I feel bad because Talbotton is a small community, but it's a lot of people there. And if you've been through Talbotton, beautiful historic area, and our friends in Talbotton, we're not leaving you out, but that's the Weather Service is so backed up, but we're not forgetting about you. We know that you're having a lot of issues in their emergency. Talbot County Sheriff, I'm sure, is busy. And if you're in Talbot County, in Talbotton, by the time it came there, right along 41, intersections completely blocked when it left areas around Waverly Hall and into areas. And we say Waverly Hall, it's really South Waverly Hall, Ellerslie, it's what we call Ellerslie Place, and then it continued right across the county line into Talbot County. There is another one, reports from emergency managers, structural damage, obviously continue along that Highway 315 in the Ballville area of Talbot County. That's Highway 41, where that comes in. So that's where there's a lot of damage. Justin Holbrook is at one of those locations where there's been a tree on a house, and I guess he'll be focused on that. We're trying to keep him safe too, because you get in these rural areas, folks, and there's a lot of down power lines. This is where it's very bad. So we want everybody to be mindful. Do not try to play inspector, especially at night. You may think, well, that wire's not hot. If power actually gets cut somewhere else and there's a down power line that gets hot again, you can get electrocuted feet away, up to 30 to 50 feet away, and there's circles or rings of electricity around these, and that's a new hazard. There's debris that could cause another hazard. So if you get injured or something happens, emergency responders, they're going to have a tough time getting to you. And they don't need to be distracted with that because you put yourself in something. And I understand you're anxious. This is unusual. Some of you haven't been around long enough in your life to see this. Some who have never seen this. And you hear about it. It's happened to you. So you really, really, please be mindful of not going out to play inspector out there. Leave it to the first responders. You see something or hear something, certainly call it in or write it in or whatever you need to do. But Georgia Power, Alabama Power, Tallapoosa Power, Diverse Power, all these power companies all work hand in hand together, and they know, they got computers, they know where it is, they bring the professionals out and they assess it. They do that, and they do a great job at it. So you don't need to say, hey, I'm looking at this, they're going to come out and fix it. Trust me, they'll be out there. Again, so looking at that track over time, we started at 11 minutes after 2 o'clock Eastern. And we're talking about a tornado on the ground in Talbot County at 21 minutes after 4. Now, we're not leaving you out. We had other counties, several counties with more that we haven't even gotten to.
The same one.
We're focused on this because this was the worst storm. This was the most damaging storm with the worst damage altogether. I'm eavesdropping a little bit on you guys. Tell us what you're talking about. Go ahead. Go ahead. Cody will pick it up. Tell us what you're talking about. Kayla Singleton's here.
Hi, we are actually coordinating all of our live shots for our upcoming newscast. We are trying to confirm the tornado movement through Lee County, Beauregard, as well as Smith Station, as well as Ellerslie over in Harris County. I'm to understand, if you can confirm this for us,
sure.
Bob, that tornado system, it's not active currently, but I believe you mentioned there are some all clears throughout the area, but obviously there are also still some areas where there has been some damage, and we want folks to avoid those. Perfect.
The whole news reviewing area is clear right now from any tornadoes, but the threat is we still got winds, and we still got some rain behind it, and it could still add anything that was weakened or damaged, seriously damaged. It wouldn't take much wind, and even with this little rain that we're showing here in Waverly Hall, now it's raining in Waverly Hall, and another shower. This is energy behind it. It couldn't add other risks. There's still wind gusts with that, and it wouldn't take much just to knock down that next tree that was already weakened considerably. So think of that as well. We are all clear, as Michaela Singleton said. We will be coordinating all this. Again, we are now in our News 3 segment now on Sundays. We're going to continue this coverage. We're not letting up. This impacted tens of thousands of people. We lost 2 people in Beauregard. We have 2 fatalities that we know of right now. They're still doing a search and rescue, which means there could be some people unaccounted for, or they haven't heard from, or there's somebody who lives by themselves and we're checking up on them. That can take some time. This could continue right through the evening. Past search and rescue efforts, then we start talking about what's even worse than that. We start talking about, of course, the hazards that follow with this. And this is something that we don't want anybody to have to deal with at this point. At 33 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, we've been on this all morning. As a matter of fact, in another less than a half hour, we've had 12 hours of coverage online, WRBL.com, and certainly quite exhausting for the team. But we're here with you just to give you everything you need to know, and we won't let go until we feel satisfied. So This continues like this. I mean, here we are looking all the way from Manchester, Hamilton, some light rain, that's it. So the good news is, only good news, is that the worst is over. Bad news, a little wind behind it could add insult to injury, and what we don't want to discover when it comes to search and rescue. And we've seen some folks that were joined back together, a grandmother and her daughter, quite emotional reunion. That was good news. A dog was rescued, we had some animals rescued, and unfortunately we lost a couple people today, which is the worst part of this whole thing. So north and west of all this, there's Interstate 85, we're clear, and it's now night. You know, the sun is setting, and this is what makes it more troubling, because when the sun sets, it's going to be very difficult.
I just saw.
Okay, hang on one second. We had mics on. So
Bob, I
Jeff,
just got to mention here too
Jeff.
that you know, hail damage too. But tomorrow morning when people wake up or they've had a chance to assess some of the damage on their roofs too, we've had several areas of reported hail, and I think we're gonna find out a lot more in the next several hours. But of course now it's getting dark. We're going to assess some of that damage. We'll be out there, but we're going to find out that there's other things out there. Like you said, we can't nail it all down, but we're going to do the best we can up until tomorrow morning. We
saw the hail. Remember, it was we had some pea-sized hail in Crawford this morning, Ladonia, and some reports of dime-sized and nickel-sized hail. I think we got at one point was the largest hail.
And we had a report of a guy too that broke his leg. So we've got injuries out there, and just hats off to all the first responders out there, the police and the fire. They're going to be busy for a long time. They're clearing the roads. The people out there with the chainsaws and doing all that. So it's gonna be a while. Because I want to mention this, because once it's cleared now, they can do their work without worrying about the next tornado coming, because we've had several of them.
Absolutely. It gets to the point where the emotion is running high, and folks do want to go out and inspect. You want to help somebody out. You see a report and you go, we got to go out and see this. If you're putting yourself in harm's way, and you're really hindering, just think about what you're doing to your fellow neighbor. By doing that, you're not allowing them to do the job they need to do right now and help those who need help right now. If you put yourself out there, you may not get help, because really they're pretty much tasked to the max. So we really need you to be helpful in a way where you could, certainly if there's a neighbor next door, everything looks safe and clear, sure, check on them, make sure you bring them in, invite them in, or whatever you need to do. But this is not a go scouting report day and start running out. Even my sky watchers, I love my sky watchers, but please do not leave. I've gotten some reports and pictures. I don't even want to see it. Do not go out there, because I'm going to get mad at you. I don't want you.
And I want to mention too, we appreciate the video that we have gotten from our viewers out there. As you get a chance to send it in, just keep them coming, because we appreciate it. I mean, we can't be everywhere. We've been a lot of places today.
You're not kidding.
But with all the cameras out there, if you do get a chance, you feel it's safe, and you got a chance to send us something, they send it to
news@WRBL.com, and that's news@WRBL.com. And what Jeff was saying too, again, that's getting video if it's right outside your door and you know it's safe. Don't go traveling and trying to get your own video. But if you got something right there to share us, we appreciate that, and that everything is safe, and that's all right with us. So as long as you're in a safe spot, that's news@WRBL.com. Our radio partners, I don't know if we're still on the air with our radio partners, PMB, certainly thank you for getting that information out. We had to use as many devices to keep everybody updated today. A lot of people returning out of town. Some of them reported to me they knew of it, but they're sort of taken aback, and they're like, wow, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Always take it seriously. There's times where it may be like is this crying wolf? Nothing really happened. But most cases we're going to tell you something's going to happen is going to happen. It may not happen to everybody, but as you could see, where something's happening, we can only cover that area and track it as far as we can go. We can't be selective, I should say, to each neighborhood or zip code. Technology is not that good right now, so that's just the way it is. So today's a day that certainly is going to have a lot of people thinking, reassessing, re-evaluating their plans when it comes to severe weather, and not to be, and it's amazing, because there's so many people, we've heard good stories too of the preparation, that everybody has a plan, and you get to the point where let's have a plan but don't panic. And I think today we had a lot of people who did what was right.
Exactly. We got so many people on Facebook that when we were doing the Facebook Live that were actually watching the coverage from their safe place inside their house, and they weren't moving.
Right.
They were staying right where they were supposed to be, because they didn't know when to come out yet. And we let them know it was safe, but they did exactly what we told them to. When you mentioned helmets, you know, people sometimes go helmets. We were going, hey, this was one of those days where you'd be pretty glad you had one, when we're telling you got a warning coming right through your neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that or your hands too. Helmets are always good. I have my kids. They got their helmets in a spot, and they know exactly where to go. and then your hands over your head. That's your next best thing. Always protect the noggin. That's the main thing. You know, broken bones, or we can survive that in most cases, but your head, you don't want any head trauma.
And the first report we got, now there might have been other damage, was the Buck Wild Saloon there in Phoenix City, where we had that, and so there's damage out there. There's there's people that are businesses are completely done and over with. So this was serious. And again, we mentioned that Buck Wild Saloon, but there are so many other locations that Elizabeth White has been on, and Chuck Williams has been out there with. And just in case you're just tuning in with us too, correct me if I'm wrong here. 2 cell phone towers down.
Yeah, and the one just collapsed right on 280 eastbound.
Oh, and it was bent big time. It was bent big. It looked like it traveled a while, but it just fell right across the road. And that's it. I can't imagine somebody driving at that particular point that might have, maybe crossed right over it.
You hear that. We had last summer that tree went down off of Manchester Expressway, speaking of Ellerslie, that one went up there as well, and it just hit a car. One actually intersected with a car, and it happens all too often. We've lost, in North Carolina last year, we lost a reporter and a photographer driving where a tree came down. That was from wind gusts. So the winds behind it add that other element of, okay, it's over, but what about wind? And a lot of stuff has been stressed today. It's been stressed with these storms, especially the hardest hit areas, and that's what we worry about the most, that anything else could topple these over. As Jeff pointed out, that cell tower on 280, once you get around Smiths, between Smiths and Beauregard, that came down, and that easily could have hit a car, and you could see the traffic all redirected in one lane. So 280 has been minimized or down to one lane, and then when you get a little bit farther off to the east, you get farther east, now you're talking about what? You're talking 185, Smith's Road exit. That's been another headache from Whitesville Road, too. You can see now the genesis of the storm and where it's headed now. It's a winter storm now, so anybody has flights tomorrow out of Atlanta, Birmingham, guess what? Out of Columbus to get to Atlanta, taking a connecting flight. Quite a snowstorm up in Northeast, which is going to be really bad and very poor. Okay, so the full analysis and setup here before we get to our news and get into the local, and we'll start showing you our locations. The storm threat, the worst is over. The storm is southeast of the viewing area now. Our friends in Albany, Georgia are dealing with some heavy thunderstorm activity, but other than that, we are clear, some wind, and now it's search and rescue for areas around Beauregard. So we're still here with you right now. We're going to join right now with Michaela Singleton. I think, Michaela, you tell me when you're ready. Young lady, she's good. And Michaela's got us covered with the latest update. So here she goes. Michaela Singleton, I'm going to send it over to you, and we're here. If you need to talk to us or send it to us, we're here with you.
Perfect. Thank you.
On your side, this is News 3 Evening Edition.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for trusting News 3. I'm Michaela Singleton. I would also like to thank our weather team for their continuous coverage all throughout the afternoon, keeping you updated on the latest developments as we've been tracking this storm system. We first want to start off with breaking news just confirmed with Sheriff Jay Jones just minutes ago. I just got off the phone with him. He says that in Lee County there is a minimum of 10 deaths confirmed across the county. Now, the main area of damage and where those deaths appear to have occurred is around Highway 51 near the intersection with Lee Road 38. That's about 6 miles south outside Opelika. Now, Sheriff Jones says, again, we are still assessing the damage all across Lee County. It was very heavily hit, some tornadoes that moved through that area, and we are assessing housing damage, trees damaged, and just a general area of debris. So we want to make sure that all of our viewers are still safe in that area, although we are currently in an all clear. Just make sure that you are in your homes and maintain a safe area. Now, we also have some severe weather coverage out of Harris County in Ellersville, Georgia. Now, we have Justin Holbrook. He is out there live right now with a woman living off of Warm Springs Road. A tree actually fell on her house, as you can see in our video there. She was in the home at the time. Luckily, she was able to get out, and we are going to turn things over now to Justin Holbrook, if he can join us now. Justin, are you able to see and speak with us on what that damage looks like out there in Ellersville?
Hey, Michaela, I'm over here in Ellerslie, Georgia, off of Warm Springs Road. Right now I'm at 12316 Warm Springs Road, and walking in here right now and joining me is Miss Pat Silvis. She lives right here in the house. She was actually inside with her husband when the tree came down in her house. Miss Pat, just take me through what you heard when you're inside. Is everyone safe? Everyone's safe,
but we heard, well, I got the alert on my phone, and then it said take cover, so we got pillows and run in the hall and put the pillows on our head, and it sounded like a train coming through. And it was over quick, but then we heard ceilings falling and glass.
And you've lived here your whole life.
My whole life.
Have you ever experienced anything like this?
Never.
And
Never.
what was your reaction? What did you see when you came outside?
We couldn't get out, trees on our cars. Bad.
Now, I was talking to you off camera, and you said your son Ron actually works his own business, and he removes trees in storm-damaged areas for a living, and so he's actually the one that came out to clean up your house right now. What's it like, you know, have your own family come out and see it when he's done this his whole life?
It's to have him come out and see what happened, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
It was good that he could come do this for me, but it was devastating for you, wasn't it, Ronnie, to see it?
That's actually her son walking right here behind us. He has his own tree service company cleaning up trees in storm-damaged areas, and in a weird twist of fate, irony, whatever you call it, he happened to be in the house he grew up in, was the one he's now taking care of. But Miss Pat, I'm just glad everybody's safe. You told me you had 2 German Shepherds inside. They're both doing okay. I'm sure a little scared right now. But what message do you have to the people that live in Ellerslie? What's your message to everybody that's going through this right now?
I'm just praying for them and for their safety, and that everybody's okay, that I hadn't heard of any injuries yet. That
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just have faith, and I know everything will be okay.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us right now. That's the most important thing. And before I send it back to you, Michaela, I have a really human element to tell you with all this damage and all destruction. I saw Gloria and Peter Patel, who own a gas station just down the street. They came through everybody that was standing off the side of the road, and they handed out water bottles individually and gave everybody a hug to make sure that they're thinking of them and asked them how they're doing. And I ran across Herb White. He lives a mile down the road. He has nothing to do with anything, and he came out to make sure everybody could get through traffic okay. And it's those elements in destruction and damage that really stand out, this human element. So for everyone back at the station, everyone across our viewing area, we're thinking of everybody here in Ellerslie and across Georgia and Alabama. So take care, Miss Pat.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to send it back to you, Michaela. Live on your side from Ellerslie, Georgia, Justin Holbrook, News 3.
Thank you so much, Justin. And thank you so much, Miss Pat, as well, for joining us. And in Ellerslie, Georgia, forgive me for that earlier. Well, now, again, turning back our news to that tornado system that actually moved through Harris County, earlier through Lee County. As we mentioned, a minimum of 10 dead. 2 people were actually killed in Beauregard when their house fell in upon them. We actually have News 3's Chuck Williams live in Smith Station. He is joined by Mayor Bubba Copeland. And now, Chuck, tell us, what are we seeing out there in the aftermath of this tornado system?
Thanks, Michaela. We're standing here on Lee Road 294. We're behind the West Smith Station Elementary School. It looks like it got hit pretty hard. This is the worst hit area of Smith Station. It came through about 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central today. We're here with Smith Station Mayor Bubba Copeland. Bubba's been here. There have been some rescue attempts and stuff. Bubba, tell us what's been going on in this area for the last 3 hours.
Well, you know, we got the phone call that there was damage over here on 294, 295, 293, Smith Station West as well. We're still assessing the situation, but once we have the fire department, the Smith Station Fire Department, as well as the National Guard, all come out, and several citizens come out and cleared the path for us to get back to these houses. And some of these houses, one completely just empty, smashed down, have a trailer that's flipped upside down. We had one lady that was trapped inside her house. We made a rescue attempt. We had several gas leaks that we had to call Inspire as well as Sun Gas to come in and eliminate those gas leaks. It's been probably 12 houses. The school is damaged. The school is closed tomorrow for Lee County schools because of Beauregard and Smith Station. Not knowing when, we don't know the full assessment on Smith Station West.
You were talking about some rescue attempts. I heard there were a couple. I mean, there's significant damage, but there doesn't appear to be any really life-threatening injuries in this area.
Not right now. You know, people are completely shocked, you know, in their home and being in the tornado smashed it down. It's a miracle. The Lord really looked out for us today.
I mean, when you talk about this, this is you're a lifelong resident of Smiths in this area. There was one back in the 80s that was a little worse than this, but this is pretty bad, right?
Yeah. It was on Mullins Road. It cleared out the whole pecan orchard and damaged one of the schools back in the 80s. But we've had several tornadoes. 2 years ago, we had it wipe out the softball field and the baseball field, and now it's just come on this side over on 294 and 295.
What do you say to the people that want to ride through here tonight and maybe see this? What's your advice to those folks?
First thing is, it's not safe. It's completely not safe. Please don't do it. Don't ride an ATV. Don't ride a side-by-side, anything. It is completely not safe. Power lines are down everywhere. Water lines are busted. The water company's out here working. Please stay away. There'll be plenty of time to see the devastation. Look on Facebook, there'll be pictures. Look at the news. The news has got several things, but please don't come down 294, do not come down 295, and do not come around Smith Station West until crews are able to clean up the devastation.
Well, Bubba, thank you. I know you've had a busy afternoon, and you've been very helpful in giving us information. Thank you, sir. Okay, we have just come over from the 280 area. There was a cell phone tower that has US 280 blocked about a mile and a half east of the Lee County Flea Market. They have reopened the westbound lane as a two-lane road, and it looks like it's going to take them a while. They were not even beginning to move that tower when we left there about 45 minutes ago. So US 280 in the Smiths area, there were a couple of businesses that were destroyed. The Buckwild Saloon up in that area, and also the Sunoco gas station were both destroyed, and there was a couple of really gut-wrenching rescue stories rescue stories. Two guys were in the vicinity and basically were able to get out of it. One in the Sunoco building and one in his truck outside of the Buckwild Saloon. But the Smith Station area has been hit hard. It's obvious, and you can kind of ride through here. As Mayor Copeland was talking about, I mean, this house over here. If you look at the house over here, and I know it's dark and you're not getting a lot, but I talked to the gentleman, Mr. Cook, who was in that house a few minutes ago, and he was obviously shook, but he was okay, and he just there's sheetrock that is up in the trees next to the house. The roof is gone. He was in the bathroom in this small home behind West Smith Station Elementary and survived it. I think there have been some injuries here, but there was at least one person transported to the hospital out of here. Mayor Copeland told us, but it appears there is no life-threatening injuries in this situation here. We're on Lee Road, 294 in Smith Station. This is Chuck Williams reporting live for News 3.
Thank you very much, Chuck, for that live report. Now we want to recap some of the information that we have confirmed out of Lee County. That is where we just left Chuck. He is again over in the Smith Station area. Now, Smith Station Sheriff Lee County Sheriff Jay Jones, he actually just confirmed to us before our newscast began a minimum of 10 deaths confirmed across Lee County. There are unfortunately expected to be more because assessments on that damage have not yet been completed. Multiple injuries. The hardest hit area appears to be around Highway 51 and Lee Road 38, just outside of Opelika, just slightly south of Opelika. And of course, News 3 is deeply aware of the devastating impact of these storms, the impact to our viewers. We will be covering this for you continually throughout the evening, as well as online and on our website for weeks to come. So let us go now to some video that we actually have out of Beauregard, Alabama, that is also in Lee County. Now, this is actually video of the line of people attempting to line up for the emergency shelter at Beauregard Elementary School. This was shot by News 3's Angelicia Bruton. Now, that line up to the emergency shelter, as Bob has mentioned earlier in our newscast throughout the afternoon, many people were advised to take shelter in place, find a safe place. Obviously, there were also many mobile homes that were affected by the storms, by the tornadoes, and were no longer safe to stay in, and therefore, again, this very long line attempting to reach that emergency shelter. If you feel that you are in a an area that is unsecure, if you feel that your home has been damaged or that the area in which you are living is unsecure, make sure that you are able to shelter in place, find a neighbor, or find a local business that may be opening its doors to our local viewers. And again, emergency shelters are set up across the viewing area. We would also like to confirm that just before the newscast, we had the Lee County School Assistant Superintendent confirmed for us that all Lee County schools will be closed tomorrow as they assess damage to the school system. Now, we also have video from right here in Columbus off of I-185 North, just before exit 14, a Smith station Smith Road. Now, pickup trucks were trying to drag limbs out of the way on I-185. Now, one of the trucks even volunteered to have they actually had their family members in the cab. They just took out some time out of their day to try and clear this area. News 3's Teresa Whitaker was out there as well. We want to remind all of our viewers that this is the area of 185 near exit 14, southbound lanes completely closed. So we just want to, again, advise our viewers, if you are out and about in the Muskogee County, Columbus areas, again, these areas are all clear now, but we want to make sure that you are safe while you are on your travels. We also have some updates to Moon Road. Apparently there are some traffic lights that are out there. News 3's Greg Lloyd is out there, and he has told us that some traffic lights are out. So again, if you are out traveling now that we are in the all clear in the weather system here in Muskogee County, just make sure that you are safe. And you can make sure that to get the latest updates if you download the WRBL News 3 Radar app. Again, continuous updates on weather movements throughout your area. And we are also available on Facebook and on Twitter. So we are going to turn things back over now to our weather team that has been here all throughout the afternoon, keeping you updated on this weather system as it has moved through. Bob Jeswald is here at our weather wall.
Okay, thank you, Michaela. We've got a couple reports here. I just want to give you an update. We got Justin Holbrook. We're talking by the end of the duration of that same storm that just impacted Beauregard, Smiths, all the way through parts of Fortson, Georgia, into Ellerslie. It ended up in around the Talbotton area, right at the 315 and Highway 41. Once you get into Talbot County from the Harris County line, complete destruction described. Justin Holbrook, I was telling him to get out there. He says, I can't even go any further. So we just tweeted this at WRBL News. I just picture roads are completely impassable, just completely covered with large trees and debris. That's why nobody should be out on the roads right now. But what you worry about is emergency vehicles trying to go to try to help somebody may not be able to get there. So here's a time where we start to use a little bit more smart sense. We know what to do, but just try not to let our emotion control us to get out there. That's really important. We always look at the psychology of these things at weather, of course, events, and when we go to weather conferences, they talk about it all the time, and a lot of people get injured, and they didn't need to be injured unnecessarily. Also, Greg Majeski showing me report. He's one of our freelancers here, that he said, somebody said a three-year-old boy is missing. It's just on Facebook, so they're in a search and rescue mode right now. Search and rescue mode, and that's what brings us to Elizabeth White, of course, our Auburn, Alabama bureau chief, and she's out there right now in the Beauregard area. And Elizabeth, this has been more than just something that people will be talking about.
The News 3's Elizabeth White. We are live here in Lee County with his Chief Byron Prather with the Opelika Police Department, Opelika Fire Department. I'm sorry, it's been a long night. Yes. Sheriff Jay Jones pushed out some information confirming 10 fatalities, multiple injuries. What do folks need to know right now? I don't have a microphone, so if you can talk up loud.
Yeah, just the biggest thing is we need people to stay away. We don't need sightseers out here. There's a lot of debris down on the ground. There's power lines down. There's search and rescue teams still in here working. This is still a very active and hot area as far as personnel on the ground working here. So we need everybody to stay away. We don't need people out here coming here and looking around. If somebody is looking for an individual, the Red Cross has set up a red nighting center at the Sanford Middle School on Lee Road 11.
Right.
So if you're looking for somebody or trying to get in touch with somebody that might have been in this area, my suggestion is go to the Sanford Middle School on Lee Road 11 and try to get with the Red Cross and try to reunite you with those family members. We did have a lot of people at the time being pushed out that were injured right when the storm had just got through hitting.
Right. How can you describe it up there? It looks like an atom bomb went up there. I've never seen anything like it.
It's a lot of destruction up there. Homes are completely gone. Family members are still missing. We're searching. That's the reason we need people to stay out of the area.
All right, Chief Prather, anything else you can think of? Say, what can we do to help? Everybody wants to help.
Yeah, just keep everybody in your prayers. And just and think of everybody. And if you know somebody lost somebody today, give them a shoulder to lean on.
Thank you so much, Chief Prather. Thank you so much for all of your information right there, all your hard work. Just a devastating afternoon here in Beauregard, here on Lee Road 38 and 51 or Marvin Parkway. I can't even begin to describe the destruction that we have seen. Sheriff Jay Jones letting us know that at least 10 fatalities have been confirmed at this point in time. Numerous injuries. As we were walking up, we saw parents holding their children bleeding from the head. It's like nothing we have ever seen. This is an all-hands-on-deck type of emergency situation. They are searching for survivors. They are searching to recover the deceased as well. You just heard Chief Prather say a reuniting center has been set up at Sanford Middle School at Lee Road 11. That is near Beauregard Fire Station number 3. So I know several family members who are panicking at this point in time. You cannot get in touch with your loved ones. Please call up to Sanford. I think the phone lines are down, or go to Sanford, and that is where families are being reunited with other family members. So again, stay out of the area. The cleanup, it's just going to be a massive effort. We are talking weeks, possibly months. Everybody has been asking, what can we do to help? At this point in time, Chief Prather says it best. Just pray for the people here in Beauregard, in Lee County, in the East Alabama area. And again, as soon as we have more information, we'll bring it to you right here on Facebook Live. But again, our thoughts and prayers are with the 10 families who have lost a loved one in this massive storm. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who has been injured. Please check online, WRBL.com. Like and follow our Facebook page. We are going to be here from start to finish, right alongside you as the Beauregard community. I know they will come together and they will rebuild and they will support the families that have lost not only everything, but they have lost a family member and a loved one. It's going to be a long haul, but we're going to come together, and whatever News 3 can do to help the families, we are going to be here and do as best as we can. Again, that does it for here, but we'll be back here live with any new information that comes up. Going to send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And again, we just want to remind all of our viewers we will be continuing this coverage for several weeks, and we will also be continuing that coverage again online. We will also have an hour-long newscast coming up at 11 where we will be recapping everything we've been covering for you throughout the day.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 12 hours, so everybody just play it safe. Please do not go out unnecessarily. You don't need to go out if you have no reason going out. We want you to be safe, and we will have that coverage. We're having reports of search and rescue, and interesting enough, we can go right to the radar real quick. We've actually had numerous reports across Lee County of people looking for people. They don't know where they're at, even children.
Oh, I see.
Devastating. So please, please, please don't put yourself in harm's way. We don't need that. The rain and the worst is over right now. We're beginning to clear. The temperatures are going to cool. We could probably show you a real quick update on maybe on the 7-day here. We'll show you the temperatures now cooling dramatically. We're seeing definitely over almost a 15-degree change up in our southern counties versus our northwest counties. And the cold air is what created all this today behind it. It had so much energy. The winds are northwesterly. There's still enough to be problematic that could actually hinder and actually cause more insult to injury when it comes to weakened trees or whatever it may be. So as we dip down into the 30s, it's going to be a cold start tomorrow morning and Monday morning. There is no school for Lee County. Lee County schools are closed. They are closed. So what do we have in store for the search and rescue and for the cleanup? We're going to be watching Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even part of Friday, but mainly Monday through Thursday looks pretty good. It's still not going to be enough time for cleanup. The bad news is we're back into an unsettled pattern Friday, Saturday, and it's just too soon for me to speculate, but we are looking at maybe a week from today another potential setup. Maybe not as bad as it's just too soon to say. But again, we're in spring and this is not cooperating quite well, but at least I'm just thankful we got 4 days of some weather for us to try to play catch up. WRBL.com, you could, of course, we'll hit that 1 hour special, Michaela, you said.
Yes.
And Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, and all our digital platforms, and of course on our radar and news apps as well. We'll be streaming that. The team has done certainly long hours. We're going to kind of regroup. We meet, and anything you need of any validity will be at WRBL.com. We're going to keep you updated. And 1 hour special coming up at 11:10 Central to midnight going into Monday morning, and before we start the Monday morning newscast.
All right. Thank you so much, Bob. Again, thank you to all of our weather team and our reporters working there, out there hard for you. We will have so much more for you coming up at 11.